Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry, and this is Conservative Commentary. Well, it seems that New York Supreme Court Judge Juan Merchan can't decide whether to poo-poo or get off the pot. He imposed a deadline on himself to rule whether or not he was going to dismiss the convictions against President Trump in the New York charade trial. But now he's delayed his decision again. Before we get into talking about this case and Merchan, I'd like to ask you for a favor. If you would please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It helps us grow the channel and get the message out. And also, please go over to youtube.com/@KennethJHenry and check out our other videos. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe there. It's absolutely free. Now back to Merchan. As you will recall, this case started when Alvin Bragg pieced together misdemeanors that were beyond the statute of limitations to try to shore up a case of alleged election law, finance law violations. The problem is a New York state prosecutor or any other state prosecutor does not have standing to bring a suit under federal law for federal election alleged crimes. But Merchan let it go forward. And then after the trial, he gave jury instructions that nobody could understand, not even the lawyers involved or the talking heads on the network. And so the jury came back with a conviction. Well, after those 34 counts that were convictions, the U.S. Supreme Court stepped in and said, wait a minute. President Trump has absolute immunity for actions taken while in office. And if you let evidence in at trial that were part of his official acts, then that evidence is inadmissible. So they painted Merchan into a corner and or put him out on a limb or skated him out on thin ice, however you want to phrase it. And he is trying to figure a way out and seems to be having real problems doing so. So what he did was delay his decision yet again and ask the prosecuting team to come back with recommendations to him as to what their next steps might be. Now, what are the options here? One, he could dismiss the whole shebang, which is what he should do. Or two, he could delay a decision until President Trump is out of office. Or he could sentence President Trump to community service and count his time serving as president as that community service. Or, like I said, he could just dismiss this nonsense, which should be dismissed regardless. But if he delays sentencing for 4 years, President Trump will be 83 years of age at the time, and the American public will be tired of all of this stuff. Merchan is he is just in a spot where he put himself with lawfare, and he just simply cannot figure out how to get out of the situation. Take a look at this interview on Fox News with Alina Habba, one of President Trump's lawyers, and please share your thoughts in the comments.
And now tonight, the left wing's weaponization of justice against President-elect Trump continues to crumble. Earlier today, the judge in Donald Trump's falsified business document case, Judge Juan Merchan, paused all court deadlines, including the November 26 sentencing date, to consider the effect of his victory in last week's election. Meanwhile, attorney for President Trump and his spokesman, legal spokesperson Alina Habba, has, according to reports, emerged as a frontrunner for the role of White House press secretary. Alina joins us now with reaction. First of all, it was your legal team that, in fact, requested this delay, indefinite delay. Finally, Judge Merchan agreed to something. But for all intent and purposes, isn't this case really dead?
It was dead upon arrival, Sean. We know that. This case was never supposed to be brought. We also know that the DOJ had appointed people, Pomerantz included, that were supposed to go in and investigate Trump before he decided to run for office. And then when he decided to run for office, they brought charges. We know what this has been. We've been talking about it for years. This was a sham trial that was brought to keep President Trump in the New York courts, as all these cases were, and they failed. So now we have a judge who, frankly, should have dismissed it today. Hopefully he will. He should. And the Supreme Court has spoken on this. You know, it's exhausting to the American people at this point, I think. I think they spoke loudly on November 5th about why they're tired of it and the direction the American people want to go, which is America first, policies, security, economic prosperity, things like that. Not these sham trials, and not seeing people from the left put in DOJs to attack political opponents. This should never have been brought. And if you actually look at it, Sean, this was a case that was denied. Nobody wanted to bring it. Cy Vance didn't want to bring it. Alvin Bragg didn't want to bring it. And then you're looking at people like Jack Smith, $50 million, we found out, $50 million of taxpayer dollars going against a political opponent. America's had enough. They spoke loudly on November 5th. So I'm looking forward to the next administration stopping this lawfare and witch hunt.
Okay, so let me ask you, what is the likely decision that the judge will make in this case when, I guess, it finally goes before him for final adjudication?
It should be dismissed. There's actual, first of all, there's testimony that came out that should not have come out. There's nothing that the president did wrong. This case was past the statute of limitations, just like Tish James, just like everything else. This was a complete political opponent move. This has nothing to do with legal eloquence, legal lawfare, statutes. It was a state case that was stacked so that they could make it a federal case to try and prevent him from becoming president. And it didn't work, Sean. So it should be dismissed. It should never have been brought. And if Judge Merchan wants to have any dignity, any dignity from the American people in the robe, in the office of all attorneys and judges and the DOJ, he should stop this nonsense right away.
As you pointed out, I mean, it was past the statute of limitations. They stacked charge upon charge upon charge. I think maybe one of the more egregious parts of this and evidence of the weaponization of Biden's DOJ is their third highest ranking official came in to help Alvin Bragg. Nobody is going to give up that spot to go work for Alvin Bragg in New York City when they're the third highest official in the DOJ, but they did that anyway.
Sean, I'll one-up you on that. Take a look at the White House logs. Take a look at the DAs and the AGs that have come in and coordinated with the President of the United States. That's the Harris administration. That's the woman that just ran against President Trump and lost in a major way. America is done with this. We see it for what it is. It was lawfare. There is nothing he did wrong. They put the judges, they tried all the way up to the Supreme Court and lost. And there's a reason for that. The American people are speaking loudly. You cannot attack political opponents who have done nothing wrong. You cannot put people from the DOJ. You cannot put Hillary Clinton's law firm in charge of prosecuting political opponents. It's un-American. I hope that the American people never have to speak about this again. I really do. And I believe President Trump will make sure of that.
Let's talk